This is a recording of the International Communist Party, which maintains its direct line running from Marx to Lenin to the foundation of the Third International and the birth of the Communist Party of Italy in Leghorn, Livorno, 1921. And from there to the struggle of the Italian communist left against the degeneration in Moscow and to the rejection of popular fronts and coalitions of resistance groups. Today, we will be reading our International Workers' Day Mayday leaflet. The capitalist order prepares for war between nations. The proletariat must prepare for war between classes. May 1st, 2025. The capitalist order prepares for war between nations. The proletariat must prepare for war between classes. Only revolutionary defeatism of the working class can stop imperialist war. Down with nationalism, long live working class internationalism. Ominous clouds are gathering over vast areas of the world, while in others, the storm of war has already been raging for some time. In the world, dominated by the laws of capital, 56 conflicts of varying size and intensity are taking place, involving 90 countries. From Ukraine to Palestine, from Congo to Yemen, from Myanmar to Sudan. The world economy stagnates, overwhelmed by the overproduction of goods, and any attempt to restore its momentum runs up against the irreconcilable contradictions of this now anti-historic production system. The abandonment of free trade, which has characterized the past decades, and the return to protectionism and economic nationalism are further proof that the regime of capital is outliving itself. On the one hand, protectionism will further increase the exploitation of the proletariat, and on the other, it will intensify the struggle for the division of markets. The trade war between imperialisms is a preview of open war, as happened in both world wars of the last century, the first of which was stopped throughout Europe by the victory of the proletarian revolution of October 1917 in Russia, a shining historical example of how the war machine of capital can be broken. The United States, the world's leading economic and military power, is reacting to the crisis with protectionism and threatening to deploy its enormous war machine to contain its global rival, China. The People's Republic of China, the world's second most powerful capitalist nation, usurping the title of socialist as the Stalinist USSR once did, continues with ever greater difficulty in a context of general economic crisis, its industrial and military growth keeping a low profile to gain positions at a commercial and diplomatic level while preparing for confrontation also on the military level. In an attempt to get out of the industrial recession, the European imperialists rearm under the pretext of responding to the Russian threat. But the rearmament will be directed primarily against the proletariat, who are called upon today to make sacrifices and tomorrow to go to the front to defend the interests of their masters. A united Europe, impossible under capitalism, will be torn apart by a third imperialist world war, as occurred in the First and Second, with the various nation-states siding with either the American or Chinese imperialists. The worldwide arms race will require the mobilization of huge resources, taking away from hospitals, schools, wages, and pensions. In South Korea, the bourgeoisie are working to introduce a 64-hour work week, while some countries are already considering reintroducing compulsory military service. Poland intends to conscript the entire male population for periods of military training. The working class cannot fight decisively and uncompromisingly to defend its living and working conditions without challenging the national economy, which is nothing more than capitalism. This battle must be fought not only in every country, but within the union movements, which today is mostly dominated by unions subservient to national bourgeois interests. Workers must struggle against the openly bourgeois or opportunist leadership within the unions, who have historically been complicit in the march of workers for the defense of their fatherland. and will continue the same tradition when the mass graves of tomorrow's third imperialist war will be dug and filled with the corpses of the proletariat. In the United States, the president of the United Auto Workers Union has hailed the protectionist tariffs that increase the prices of goods as a victory for the working class. In Italy, the Secretary General of the Italian General Confederation of Labor led a demonstration in favor of European rearmament. In other words, the slaughter of proletarians. A real struggle for significant wage increases, for better and safer working conditions, for the reduction of working hours has become a struggle against rearmament spending. The only true opposition to the militarization of the economy and society, effectively preparing the proletariat for the revolutionary struggle for communism with the authentic Marxist tradition, represented by the International Class Party as its instrument of emancipation. The impersonal, historical force and necessity of communism, a new form of production that is already mature and pressing in the belly of the capitalist monster, will once again present itself as the only true possible alternative. Either bourgeois war for the preservation of the system of production or international communist revolution. Today, as was true yesterday, war on war, the enemy of the working class is in its own country. Proletarians of the world unite.